Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we're going to do Ghazal 693 from Divan-e-Shams. Jani ke ze noor Mustafa zad. A soul that is born of Mustafa's light, the light of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's read it in Persian and then in English, and then we'll discuss the meanings, inshallah. Muhammad Sahib Aziz, would you mind if you're not retired?
Yes, okay, sure, inshallah.
Thank you.
یا حق جانی که ز نور مصطفی زاد، با او تو مگو ز داد و بیداد. هرگز ماهی سباحت آموخت، آزادی جست سرو آزاد. خاری که ز گلبن طرب رست، گلزار به روی او شود شاد. دور است رواقهای شادی، از آتش و آب و خاک و از باد. زین چار بسیط چون چلیپا، ترکیب موحدان برون باد. زان سو فلکی است نیک روشن، زان سو ملکی است بسته مرصاد. کمتر بخشش دو چشم بخشد، بینا و حکیم و تیز و استاد. با دیده جان چو واپس آیی، در عالم آب و گل به ارشاد. بینی تو دیگران نبینند، هر سو نوری به رسم میلاد. در هر ابری هزار خورشید، در هر ویران بهشت آباد. تختی بنهی به قصر مردان، هم خیمه زنی به بام اوتاد. بویی ببری ز شمس تبریز، کو راست ملک مطیع و منقاد. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenza-Jan, would you mind reading the translation?
Bismillah. The soul born of Mustafa's light, do not speak to it of right and wrong. Does a fish ever have to learn how to swim? Does a free cypress ever have to seek freedom? The thorn sprung from the rosebush of the light, the entire rose garden rejoices at its sight. Far are the arcades of true joy, from fire and water, from earth and wind, from these four elements, bound like a cross. May the constitution of the one-hearted be set free. Beyond, there's a brightly shining heaven. Beyond, there's a king, waiting, watchful. His least gift is a pair of eyes, rendering one seeing, wise, sharp, and a master. When you return with the eye of the soul to this world of water and clay, to guide, you will see what others cannot see. In every direction, a light heralding a new birth. Within every cloud, 1,000 suns. Within every ruin, a paradise in bloom. You will set up a throne in the palace of the brave, and pitch your tent upon the roof of the pillars of the earth. You will catch a fragrance of Shams Tabriz, to whom even the angels are obedient and submissive.
Thank you, Kenza-Jan. Okay, so let's talk about it, inshallah, verse by verse. The first couplet is Jani ke ze noor Mustafa zad, a soul that is born of the light of Mustafa. And as you know in the hadith, Sayyidina Rasulullah, he says, أَوَّلَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ نُورِ. The first thing that Allah created was my light. So it's the light of the Prophet. Now Maulana says those who are one with the light of Sayyidina Rasulullah, they're born in the light of Mustafa. Do not lecture them about right and wrong, bidad and bidad, justice and injustice. They do not need lectures. They can seek the truth from within, internally, instead of externally. So this is something that Maulana says again and again. So far as we're not in that stage, we do need reminders. We do need to go against our own nafs, our own desires. But once your desire is Allah, as Maulana says in another Ghazal, he says, Ravish abid u zahid hamegi tark murad ast. What the ascetics do and the worshippers do, they go against their own desires, the desires of the nafs. Binema tark che guyam, chu toyi jumle muradam. What should I go against when my only desire is Allah? So that is when someone has transcended right and wrong. Not in the sense that it doesn't matter what they do. It means, yes, they do the right thing, but internally, because that's who they are, not because they're following certain rules. Because as Maulana says in the next bait, a fish does not learn how to swim. A fish swims because that's its nature. A cypress doesn't learn how to be free, how to stand upright. A cypress stands upright and gracefully because that's its nature. So, for a lot of us, being good is an effort. We need to put effort into it. It's a conscious decision. It's a conscious act of will. But for someone who's born in the light of Mustafa, it's effortless. And, we had this discussion when we were doing the Masnavi of what it means that the prophets are ma'soom, or the angels are ma'soom. And a lot of people have this kind of conception that God just programmed them like robots. They can't do sin. They can't commit sins. And the reality is, it's because of their knowledge. It's because of their insight. Let's say if there's a fire in front of me, you don't need to tell me, don't jump into the fire. I don't do that because I know the consequences of jumping into that fire. I know I will burn. I'm not going to wait for you to warn me. I see that fire, I immediately know. So what's the reason that I commit sins? What's the reason I lie? What's the reason I might backbite or I do this? Because I'm not aware of those consequences. I'm ignorant or I'm heedless. Now, angels, because they're pure light and pure insight, they know the consequences. They know the essence of that. It doesn't even register for them to sin. It's not even an option. So this is when goodness becomes natural. That's what Maulana is saying. Like the fish that swim because that's their nature. Like the cypress that's upright because that's its nature. Then you realize that even a thorn that appears rough, but if that thorn is related to the rose garden, then the entire rose garden rejoices at its sight, as Maulana says. So even the sternness of the beloved, even what you might think as unpleasant or as harsh, even those, you need to appreciate those as well. Because every rose comes with a thorn. As Hafiz says, فکر معقول بفرما گل بیخار کجاست. If you think about it, there's no rose without a thorn. And that thorn is also beautiful. The beauty of a rose is also because of the thorn that comes with it. So even that thorn, which is connected to the rose garden, connected to the rosebush of the light, connected to the light of Mustafa, that thorn is also blessed and beautiful. Now, Maulana is going to talk about happiness. We think happiness is in possessing things, in آتش و باد و خاک و باد, these elements, fire, water, earth, wind. But happiness, true happiness, lasting happiness is not in these things. It's far from these things. Where is true happiness found? It's not in possessing more. It's in a content heart. So, دور است رواقهای شادی. The arcades of happiness are far from fire and water, from earth and wind, from these four elements. Happiness is not found here, it's found beyond when you return to your Lord. Radiyatan, when you're contented. Radiyatan mardiya. So beyond there is a heaven, there is a brightly shining heaven. And beyond again that heaven, there's a king who is watchful and waiting. It comes from the Quran. And Rabbaka labil marsad, is waiting not only for the evildoers, also for the good doers, also for those who yearn for Allah. Allah yearns for them. Allah is yearning to welcome them. So beyond this world, there's a heaven. Beyond that heaven, there's a king waiting for you, watchful. And he wants to give you gifts. And the least gift, the smallest gift he gives you is a pair of eyes. A pair of eyes that will see the inner reality of things, the essence of things. Basira. And it's interesting, in the Quran, anytime eyes are mentioned, it's about basira. It's not about physical sight. So as in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, it's not the eyes that become blind, it's the hearts. Al-qulub allati fi as-sudur. It's the hearts and the breasts, they become blind. or people who have eyes but do not see. Again, seeing the reality of things. That's basira, or the inner sight. And when you have that eye of the heart, which sees the reality of things, when you have that eye of the heart, you need to come back. So you have ascended, but then you need to descend. Just like, all the prophets. Musa went to Mount Sinai, but he came back to his people. And Sayyidina Rasulullah, he went to Mi'raj, he came back to guide. So why do these people come to the world of water and clay? They don't need the world of water and clay. They come to guide and save others also and take with them. So you come with that eye of the heart to this world of clay and water to guide other souls. Because you see what others cannot see. Others see endings. Others see death. You see beginnings. You see birth. You see that what people think it's death, it's actually a birth. What people think it's perishing, it's actually everlasting life. You see a new birth. You see a new becoming, a new world at each instant, a new light. You see that every cloud carries within itself suns. Everything that appears to be dark and gloomy, ultimately there's the light in there. There's hope in there. Within every ruined heart, there's a paradise. You see the inner aspect of things. Other people may look and judge superficially, look at, this is just a ruined place. This is a cloud. But you see the sun within. You see the paradise within that ruin. So that's the eye of the heart. That's the knowledge of the awliya. And then you can also, so these awliya, they were people. They were human beings. You can set up your throne, the Qasr Mardan, the palace of the men of Allah, the brave, the courageous, and pitch your tent on the roof of the awtad. And awtad, again, it comes from the Quran. Wal jibal awtada. The mountains are the pegs. So in the Sufi language, there are at least 4 watad. These awtad, 4 awtad in the 4 corners of the world. And the world is stable because of their presence. So in each age, you have these high-ranking awliya. They're the awtad. And then, yes, you will pitch your tents on their roof, on the roof of these awtad and pillars of the earth. And then you will catch the fragrance of Shams. So you cannot comprehend the essence of Shams. You cannot grasp the greatness of Shams Tabriz, but you can catch a fragrance of what Shams is like. Kurast malak muti'u munqad, because even the angels are obedient and submissive to a wali of Allah. So just like the angels bowed down to Adam, they bowed down to the reality. They bowed down to the Khalifatullah. And same it is, when you catch a fragrance of Shams, you will realize that angels bow down to such people. Ahmed.
I really like that one couplet with the eyes. The first one, it was few couplets up.
Was it this one?
The one with the basira.
Mhm.
This one, I think. I don't know, one of them, I forgot which was the couplet name, but I really like this, how you were explaining about the eyes of the heart, the inner eyes that are vacant. And I was thinking actually about it also since yesterday. And I was thinking about it that this is so beautiful, but how Allah has created the reality. So He has given us the instruments for experiencing the reality in which we are. So the eyes from this body are of this world, and they're here to experience what is in this world, and through this to learn about God. But there is another set of eyes within us, and it belongs to the breadth of the divine. And those eyes, when you see with that, the reality you see is not the reality that we are seeing with this eye. So it makes a lot of sense that, yeah, to perceive something that is not in this world, you need to have that insight to say, and this is what Mevlana is talking about. This is what all the mystics are talking about. It doesn't matter which tradition you go to, which part of the world you go to, they're always talking about this. And it makes a lot of sense if you're thinking about it. and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So there is a limit to what we can perceive with this. There's a limit to what we can experience with our senses. And Maulana is just talking about it. It's so beautiful.
Allah, indeed.
Okay, I'll just make a brief comment. That image of the rose, of just the thorn coming out and the whole garden rejoicing, is just absolutely stunning. I mean, Hafiz, as you mentioned, uses this whole image of the thorn, but this is really beautiful poetry. Of course, in Farsi, in Persian, it comes out better than in English, but it's still this image of pure
Yes.
joy. No?
Yes, indeed, indeed. And yeah, Maulana in the Masnavi, he says that there's a type of bulbul that will eat not only the roses but the khar, the thorns. So he accepts not only the pleasant experiences but also the thorn, also the harsh aspects. And he says, عاشقم بر لطف و بر قهرش بجد. I love his kindness, his gentleness, but I also like the sternness. I also love the sternness. بُالعجب من عاشق این هر دو ضد. How wondrous it is that I love these opposites. I love the gentleness, but also the sternness. Because the sternness is also mercy. The sternness of Allah is also mercy and loving. Not just the kindness and the gentleness, but also the sternness is also ultimately kindness, ultimately a form of mercy.
It was a beautiful image of the bulbul eating the thorn also, and it kind of makes me think that, for example, because the bulbul is singing, and the thorn would give it the khalish in the throat to give this painful melody. that would be beautiful to make the garden cry. Yes,
Allah,
because he's singing from the separation of the rose, right? So I think that imagery is nice, to give it a little bit of pain.
Indeed. And then Maulana goes further. He says, "In koja bulbul, nahang atashi ist." This is not just a bulbul. It's not a nightingale. It's a fiery whale. Jumle nakhushha z ishq u ra khushi ist. And because of him, all unpleasant things, because of love, they become pleasant. All bitter things, because of love, they become sweet. So, Zahra.
Yeah, I was thinking of what you said about the angels, that we kind of perceive that they are programmed to just worship day and night. But in reality, I guess Iblis, whether they say he was an angel or jinn, there was that free will where, he decided to go against worshipping or, so there is always a choice to turn towards creating good or harm. Yeah, it's really interesting because the nightingale normally sings to attract mate, and then again it's all love, isn't it? The reason it's singing, because it comes from love and it ends with love, the singing, doesn't it? Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Indeed, Allah. Muhammad Sabaz.
Yes, in regards to the matter of the soul, John.
Yep.
Yeah, in lots of different places of the Masnavi, the Maulana is always better than me, talking about the soul. John بحث عقلی گر درو مرجان بود آن دگر باشد که بحث جان بود بحث جان اندر مقام دیگر است باده جان را قوام دیگر است آن زمان که بحث عقلی ساز بود این عمر با بوالحکم هم راز بود چون عمر از عقل آمد سوی جان بوالحکم بوجهل شد در حکم آن. This matter of soul. So if rational debate be pearls, so the debate of soul is something else. The Bahs John is that's because here in this Ghazal you talk about the soul and something. Yeah, that's it reminded me
Allah, indeed, indeed.
The soul is in another level of the discussion. It's yeah.
Indeed.
So ordinary, you know, we are usually in the daily life, we talk about the reasons and always in arguing, you know, bringing argument. But the matter of the when you want to enter in the level of the soul, John, that's another level. That's something else. بحث جان انتر مقام. Another place say غیر از این جانی که در گاو و خر است آدمی را عقل و جانی دیگر است. This is
absolutely subhanallah. And yeah, Maulana, you know, sometimes just like in the Fihi Ma Fihi, there's the land journey and the sea journey. So the bahsa aqli, the rational discussion, is like the sea, it's like the land journey. But then the sea journey is the spiritual journey, is the bahsa John, the soul. And Maulana uses that imagery a lot also in this Ghazal, the fish. Right? The lover of Allah is always the fish. And, you know, elsewhere he says, you know, the 5 prayers. There are 5 daily prayers for, you know, for believers. But عاشقان را فی صلات دائمون. The lovers are always in prayer. For the lovers, praise is at all times. And then he says, apparently the Prophet ﷺ, he told one of his companions, come every other day. Instead of coming every single day, come every other day, and then I will love you more. But then Maulana says, because that companion was not a fish, you know, he was attentive, he was a good listener, but he was not a fish, he was not a lover. Because a lover does not have the patience to come every other day. The lover is restless. He wants to be there every single second. And he says, come every other day is not the task of the fish. The fish do not understand this language of come every other day. The sincere lovers, they're the ones who are always thirsty. So they always want more, and they always want to be there. They don't want to come every other day. And then he says, because at that point, the differentiation between the lover and the beloved is gone. So, does anyone say to himself, I will see you tomorrow, the next day? You don't do that. You're always with yourself. And same it is with the lover and the beloved. They're always together. They want to be always together, at least. They have that yearning and longing. And then he says, this is not something that you can understand rationally. This is not something that can be understood with rational discussions and logical arguments. This is something that you need to die to understand. This is the knowledge that comes when you die, when you surrender. You're in taslim, then you will understand this.
If I may, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Maulana in his poetry, Ghazals, and in Masnavi, uses the image of the fish, because the fish is completely immersed in his reality, whereas us, we are not, because we need the earth to stand, so there's one contact there, and we need the air to move around, the upper, you know, whereas the fish is completely in the sea of love, or the sea of life, or there's no other support. I don't know how to put it that way. Even the bird flies, but eventually it has to land. It cannot just fly forever. Whereas the fish is just in the water. Always.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, indeed. Maulana uses murghabi as well, duck. And there's that story of, you know, there's a chicken like murgh khanagi who's, you know, nurturing a duckling. And then the duckling thinks it's also a hen, it's also a chicken, until one day they go to the river, and then the duck jumps into the water, and the hen says, you know, why are you doing this? You will die. And says, no, this is my home. Now I realize I'm a duck. Now I realize my true self.
I was just thinking about what you and Kenzan said about the fish. I'm thinking if the fish are thinking about the land dwellers that are there always living in the air, reading it, because they probably it's their reality. They do not know about it. It's everywhere. But for us, because we can distinguish it, it is appearing like it's so beautiful that it cannot live without it, and it is a part of it. Like if ocean is
Mhm.
God consciousness, then it is
Mhm. Mhm.
literally inside God consciousness. What if for the fish we are in God consciousness because we are in air, and we are not aware of it? So maybe it is a perspective of seeing it from another eye, the eye
Yes.
of the mirror, or the one who is mirror. But just
Yes.
thinking about it, it sounds ironic and funny in a sense like this.
Yes. Allah, indeed. Indeed. I wrote a poem years ago about, the fish and the sea. It's also on YouTube. So, the
Yeah.
fish. Yes, it's like the fish go to their mother and they say, our teachers told us about this thing called the ocean, called the sea. But why is it that we can't see the sea? Why is it that we can't see the ocean? Where is the ocean?
Love it.
And
Exactly.
so if you check that, it's and then the mother says, گفت مادر که کودکان دریا هست اکنون به هر کجا با ما. The mother said that the ocean is always with us.
Mhm.
It's here and now. ما که دریایان دریاییم, and we're the lovers of the sea, and the sea is surrounding us, and it's so close that because of its closeness we don't realize that we're in the sea. And until you open that eye that sees the inward, دیده بحربینشان, at the end of the poem, دیده بحربینشان شد باز, the eye that sees the sea, that eye was opened and then they saw the sea.
Mhm.
بحر در نشیب و فراز. And then everywhere they went, they were conscious of the reality of the sea that surrounded them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
As Hafiz says, بیدلی در همه احوال خدا با او بود, او نمیدیدش از دور خدایا میکرد. There was this lover in all states, in all situations. God was always with him, but he wouldn't see God. He didn't see God. And from far, he thought God is far away. He said, Ya Allah. Didn't realize Allah is here and now with you all the time.
Beautiful. In my personal experience,
Mhm.
I always realize about the bust in cups.
Mhm.
So in the state of expansion, I have never felt, or you know it, but you don't know to the extent of what
Mhm.
you are experiencing. But it's the moments where you have the contraction, cups. After the spiritual expansion, then you have a spiritual contraction also. It's iterative, cyclic. I don't know, maybe. But it's then you realize, okay, what I used to have
Mhm.
and what I experienced. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's beautiful. But I'm always thinking, if the fish is conscious of the ocean, because
Mhm.
it's its reality. Like we are not conscious about the breath. We are breathing air. You
Yeah.
would not even think about it. That's why all
Mhm.
meditative practices are about being conscious of what we are breathing and how we are
Yeah.
breathing. So, and being
Mhm.
aware of the surrounding. So,
Mhm.
what it tells me is that we are unconscious of our surrounding always, unless we focus on it and really think about it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, indeed.
And then wheresoever you turn is the face of God. So this comes so many times if you are conscious about something, and then this ayah comes in the mind.
So that verse in the Quran, you need another type of eye to understand that. Because if you look with these eyes, Allah Ta'ala says, wheresoever you look, you'll see the face of Allah. But if you look with the outward eye, you look at the mountain, you see a mountain. You look at the wall, you see a wall. But you need that eye. And then when you look at the mountain, you see the reality of Allah there. You look at the rose, you see the beauty of Allah there. Look at the clouds, you look at everything you look at, you see Allah. You need another type of eyes. Again, that pair of eyes that, as Maulana says, his least gift is a pair of eyes.